It's all about the annual inspection process. How do you pick a reputable shop? Who do you want doing your annual inspection? It's all on today's episode from The Fire Pilot. We have owned our airplane now for just under 2 years. She hadn't flown much in many years. In fact, since 2003, it's only flown less than 800 hours, with less flying coming in more recent years. It's been a trainer, and in the past, it's flown for the American Flyers Flight School. We wanted to go over the plane with a great level of detail. After all, she has almost 10,000 total hours on the airframe. We wanted an expert specifically in twin Cessnas. After searching through forums and at the advice of others, we came across TAS Aviation in Defiance, Ohio, specifically maintaining twin Cessna aircraft for nearly 40 years and relatively close to us. We decided they were the best place. The ramp at Defiance, Ohio is scattered with beautiful twin Cessnas from around the country. Some you may even recognize. Others you just can't stop staring at. They are amazing machines, beautiful aircraft. Twin Cessnas are unique aircraft unlike any other, and I have an old Eastern Kentucky saying, I don't go to a butcher shop to buy toilet paper, so why would I take a specialty aircraft to a general shop who works on everything? That can apply to many things in life. We meet the staff, and then we talk to Marla.
Hey guys, it's the Fire Pilot here, and we're at TAS Aviation in Defiance, Ohio. We landed, and we've done our little tour here, and they've showed us everything that's going on here. Some really great things going on. You know, I told you in the last video that, part of what we do and how we do it is that we like to partner with businesses that have a family atmosphere and have a family environment. And there's no greater example of that than what we found at TAS Aviation. On top of that, they're pretty good at what they do, or so I've been told. Marla is family here, and Marla is talking. I just want to know your story, right? I just want to know, I've kind of done a little reading on the website, but tell me your story. Tell me the business story.
So, my name is Marla, and I am the vice president of the company. I own the company with my brother, Tony. And it was started by Tony and my parents. When Tony got out of college, they helped him get started in business. That was back in 1976. And as family goes, 2 years ago, Christian joined the company. So now we have yet another generation of family right here with us. So as the company started, they struggled like most companies do. Yeah. It was 1976. If anybody remembers that, it wasn't the best economic times in the world. And Tony really worked on anything just to survive. And a few years later, he was afforded the opportunity to start a check running operation. He put together a route that was local.
Is this within the Federal Reserve System?
Within the Federal Reserve System,
okay.
That's right. And we had airplanes in all of those locations, and then we would take checks in at night. Wow. In the evenings. They would process those. Middle of the night, we'd go back to our hub cities, pick up again, come in, they would process, and we'd go back out again in the morning. So 2 turns for every city. And we had the opportunity to rotate 2 airplanes home. So we had to get pretty good at the maintenance.
And this was a 310 at that time, right?
These were all 310s, some notable exceptions in some of the further out cities, but they were all 310Rs. Yeah. We had 1 turbo 310R. Eventually, the contract expanded a bit to the East Coast, and we wound up adding a couple of 421s. That's right. So it just had to meet federal guidelines. Yeah. So live pigeons didn't make it once, but we had to get pretty creative about the maintenance side of things. That's how we learned these airplanes pretty quickly. So we either had to wind up working on the ramp, or we had to wind up going and dealing with it when we could get the 2 in at a time. So we learned by trial by fire what to do and what not to do. And as the contract was becoming an end, the Twin Cessna Flyer was born as the 310 Owners of America. And a gentleman by the name of Larry Ball in Fort Wayne in the New Haven area started the company when he bought a 1956 310. And at that time then, he looked at all the registrations for the 310s in the country to get members, and he realized that we had 15 on the registry and we were drivable down US 24. So he paid us a visit, and we became the technical advisors for the owners organization, and that now is the Twin Cessna Flyer. Yeah. And so we've used our used our knowledge to pass on to others from that time on, 1988 on.
As a business owner myself, you know, I can appreciate the true grittiness that it takes to survive, especially in the early years.
Yes.
It's a do whatever you can to survive. Absolutely. Truly, from a business standpoint, to or whatever you can do to increase your cash flow, whatever you can do to pay your next bill is what you have to do.
Right.
I can only imagine that, you know, during those times where not only was the payload critical, but the income was critical to a business.
Yes.
But yet you've got a storm coming. Right?
Yes.
And now the pressure's on.
Now the pressure's on.
You need the invoicing.
Yep.
You got to do it, and a plane's broke or the weather's coming. I can only imagine the ingenuity that it took to overcome that.
Yes.
And I think that's, you know, obviously I don't think that is why, you know, TAS is what it is, I feel.
Right. Right.
And that's why we're here.
I think that that's exactly right. You know, we did everything it took to stay going, but I think it also comes from our roots.
Yeah.
You know, we were farm kids,
yeah.
And we were born on a farm, and purchasing new equipment wasn't going to be the option.
No.
Fixing equipment was the option, and whatever it took to get the crop out, to get the cows milked, to get the steers fed was what had to happen. And I think we applied that same kind of grittiness that a farm family would to this particular business.
You had to.
Yes,
right? It's
we
a
had
method
to.
of survival.
It's a method of survival.
The cows still got to get milked.
Yes, they do.
The chickens still got to get fed.
That's
All
right.
those things still have to happen, no matter what.
Right.
And there are no excuses.
No excuses.
From business, from life. I grew up in the mountains.
Right.
Where we grew up really poor. So the same kind of background.
Yes.
Things had to get done. It doesn't matter if you didn't have money. It doesn't matter if you had resources. They still had to get done.
Right.
It's the only option.
Became a matter of survival.
That's right. And in business, that goes a long way. It's easy to give up when things get hard.
Yes.
So I relate personally to that mentality, that TAS. Again, from the outside looking in, we haven't met before today. We've talked a couple of times, talked to Christian a couple of times. I relate to that, and that's really why we're here, you know, and we appreciate that. We're looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to having you.
I'm looking forward to a very teeny tiny invoice at the end.
Yes.
No squawks.
No squawks.
No problems.
No problems.
I'll pick her up in a week and a half, and we can just fly her onto Sun and Fun, right? Yeah, right. You better do a lot of praying.
That's right.
So Marla, tell me about the skill. Tell me about the skill. You know, we know the company, we know the culture, but tell me about the actual physical skill that is within these walls at your facility.
So my older guys have all been here 30 plus years. They have a lot of what we call tribal knowledge. Mm-hmm. They've worked on these airplanes for a long, long time. They've gained experience. They've gained knowledge from jobs, knowledge from Tony, knowledge from real life, and so they run the shop. Mm-hmm. We have a great group of young guys that are coming up, and they're starting to share that knowledge with those guys. Sure. And trying to bring them along and take what's out of their brain and put them to those guys' hands. So the skill is being transferred in the old-fashioned way: show me, teach me, guide me, and then I'll be able to let me try. Yeah. Then I'll be able to duplicate that as time goes on. Our guys are also specialized, right? For the most part, each guy kind of has a specialization. Everybody's sort of general, but we have guys that are better at engines. We have guys that are better at sheet metal. We have guys that are better at landing gear. And we try to put those on their specialties as much as absolutely possible, while teaching other guys so that we can keep those specialties going.
Even in the short time that we've owned a twin Cessna, they're different. Mm-hmm. They're unlike most, if not all, other aircraft. They're their own little world.
That's right.
And they like to do things their own little way.
That's right.
The
and
specialties,
each one of them are different.
Yeah. So the 310, between the 320, as it goes on up,
right,
to the beautiful 425 Conquest that you have sitting on the ramp.
Yes.
So, do you have people who are specialized in 310s and 425s, or
maybe a little bit,
414s?
but not maybe a little bit, but not so much. I think you mostly have those breakdowns. You have the engine people, you have the landing gear people, you have the sheet metal people. Most people can do a little of all of it.
Sure.
In fact, they're all very general. Our sheet metal people are very, very, very specific. That is a very unique skill.
Absolutely, yeah.
In fact, there are whole businesses built on just the sheet metal repairs that have to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't really have model to model to model people. We more have system to system to system people.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if somebody's looking at coming to TAS, what do you want them to know in a nutshell? What do you want them to know about what their aircraft will get, the way that they'll be treated? What's your overall message for somebody who's potentially looking to bring an aircraft here?
We're a giant family.
Yeah.
And we want you to be a part of our family. We embrace the airplanes. We like to keep them in our fold. We have airplanes here that have had 3 owners, but we've continued to maintain the airplane.
And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, taking care of and preserving the models are really important to us. There's only so many, and they are definitely manageable for years and years and years to come as long as they're taken care of.
Sure.
And so knowing that we're a family and we treat you like a family, but more than that, we treat your airplane like family.
And I think that sums it up why we came, for sure. From day one that I spoke to you, and then Christian, who's behind the camera right now, I mean, I felt like you guys either talked about me when I got off the phone, or at least you knew who I was, right?
That's right.
So you gave me a nickname, I understand.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So everybody gets a nickname here, maybe?
You earned your nickname. Your airplane earns your nickname, and we'll share yours. So I'm bad with names, and I couldn't remember your first name, and I wasn't exactly sure of your YouTube channel, so you just became Fire Guy.
I'm Fire Guy. So the Fire Pilot, I'm Fire Guy.
He's Fire Guy.
That's okay. That's
You became
like
Fire Guy on the schedule, Fire Guy in conversation. Well, we now know your name is Sean.
Yep, that's it.
And you'll always be Fire Guy.
I'll take it.
Once a nickname, always a nickname.
I don't know. Are we changing the channel to Fire Guy? The Fire Guy. I don't know.
The Fire Guy.
You got to have something plain in there. I think we're going to stick to the Fire Pilot. I've got shirts that say the Fire Pilot. So
well, once you've paid for marketing, you got to stick.
I got to stick with it.
That's right.
Also, I can't shave my mustache either because that's in my logo.
Oh, okay.
So that's never coming off apparently as long as we're doing this thing.
That's good.
So Marla, I appreciate you talking to me. You know, this has been fun so far, and we've had a good time so far. I'm hoping for good things, but ultimately I'm hoping for the right things for our aircraft. Yes. And I know ultimately, no matter how long it takes, whether, as Christian said earlier, it's a 2-week job that's now a 3-month job, not because it's getting delayed inside. It's just you might find what you don't know you might find. You know, right. Whatever that is, I know that it's in good hands. And I'm not saying this to promote. There's no official relationship other than a customer to a business here in any way. You're not sponsoring me. You're not in any way. We're just. I want to tell this story. I think this story is interesting, and I think that the business, the family's business story is just something that I think others should hear. And it's an interesting story to me. So I like telling. I'm a storyteller.
Good,
can you imagine, right?
I can imagine. Well, thank you, because we are here only by the privilege of our customers allowing us to work on their airplanes. Yep. And also believing in us and understanding that what we tell them is true and right, and that we're approaching this in the safest and most economical manner. Sure. That doesn't always equate to cheap.
No, it does not.
That we possibly can. And it's the preservation of the airplanes, and it's the safety of the people.
There's only so many of them, as you said.
That's right.
And they're not making any new ones.
They aren't making any new ones.
And every time you see one that has to go to the scrapyard, it's a tragic day. That is absolutely
It is tragedy.
Terrible.
It is tragedy.
Well, guys, I think that kind of sums it up. We've got to get on the road here back to Richmond. We're going to leave 2638 Yankee here in the fine hands of the folks at TAS Aviation here in Defiance, Ohio. I encourage you, if you are a twin Cessna owner or you're looking to become an owner, maybe even some flight training you guys do.
Flight training? We can help you find an airplane if you're looking to buy.
If it's twin Cessna, these guys are the place that you want to be. So, Marla, thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. So, all right, guys, we're going to get back on the road, get back in the air in some form or fashion. I don't know what we're doing. We're going to figure that out. But we're here from TAS. The next video that you see from us hopefully will be us flying it back or flying up here to get it. We'll see. From all of us at the Fire Pilot, we appreciate it. Marla, again, thank you. From everybody here at TAS, we thank them as well. We'll see you on the next episode from the Fire Pilot.